Assembler, and in this tutorial we will be going to see what are services and how we are going to call the services, what are directives, structural directives, and how we are going to inject service and make the HTTP service calls through Ionic 5. So let's proceed. Okay, so let's begin. So first of all, we need to serve our application. For that we have a command that is Ionic serve that will bootstrap our application, and it will be seen in this Chrome. Okay, it's already been boosted up. Okay, no, it's taking time. Okay, it's up. Okay, finally we have this home page. So in this home page we will be calling the services. Okay, so before that I just want to brush up a few of the things that you will be needing while calling the services. Okay, so why actually we need to call the service, or why actually we need to reproduce the JSON, or from the why we need to get the JSON from the backend. Okay, simple. Okay, so first I will be using card template, that is Ionic template. Okay, this Ionic card. So let's see how it will look. So this is the card. Okay, so let's say we have a list of the users or the list of anything we want to show up here. So the first thing that you can do is just copy and paste this card data for, let's say, 5 to 8 times the list how many you have. Okay, but it is not the right way or the good approach to do that. Another approach you can use over here is that you can have the component in place of uh, you can have the component in place of this HTML, so your redundancy of the HTML will also be reduced. But that is also not a good approach for reproducing the list. You can directly use the component, or the number of times the component, or the raw HTML. So for that we have the for loop. So how we can use the for loop in HTML, that's the biggest thing. So the power of for loop is being provided by the Angular. Okay, so these for loops what we use in the HTML are called the directives. So we are using the structural directives. So what structural directives are, that change the structure of the DOM or the structure of the HTML at the time of run. Okay, you can say the runtime. So for that we have the syntax for loop is like this. So simply using the for loop we can directly have div, and over here we can paste it. So this will be for loop. So let's say not the list, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, we have the 6 item of the array, so it is iterable only on the array. Okay, so iterable item, so this for loop is only being applied on the iterable items, for example array. Okay, so here I will use the interpolation to bind it with the item. So here item is being used with the let. So it's a temporary variable being used with the for loop. So item will have these element of the array, so like 1 2 3. Okay, so let's see. So here you can see 1 2 3 over here corner, right corner, left corner, sorry. So this way. Okay, and the other way of using it, we can have the ng dash container. Okay, and in container we can have the for loop the same way, and let's say this for loop will be over here, and we are using the same thing, interpolation and the item. Okay, so but what's the difference between these, this using div and the ng container? So for this you have to go to the this inspect kind of thing. So for example that we are using the div, so you can see the each for each and every element of the array, so one div is being created. Okay, so when we bind with it a div, so this is the div and we are using ng for over the div. So each and every element over here has its own div. So that means every time the for loop is being run, a new div is being created. Okay, and but ng container does not. So directly you can see this element is being produced. So you can find the difference between these over Google. I'm not going to explain this. So because we are using this for loop, so that's why I insist to have some knowledge over the for loop. Okay, so we can directly use the for loop over any of the things like iron cards and anything, so without using div or the ng container. So you can, it's your choice, you can use the container or the div, doesn't matter. Okay, so but how we can differentiate that what the card number is? So with this title I'm going to use the item. Okay, so let's say this is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so we have here, but we every time we are not going to bind or have the our data over the HTML. So let it be the list, and with this list let's create one variable over here of type private, and it's been a list of array, and let it assign this. Okay, so array of type. Okay, you can a type of it's a number, so you can give a number over here. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, it is running perfectly. So if I refresh, okay, so we have used this list from our HTML, but again the case is not this, but we want the data from the server. Okay, how we'll get this list data from the server? So for that we need a API. API is something that gives us the data. So just Google dummy get dummy services or the dummy APIs. If you run this, so you will find this REST API. There are many things that you can use, but I'm going to use this dummy.rest API examples. So here you just need to create yeah, you can directly use this once you click, so it will give you this data. Okay, so it's better to have something called Postman. Okay, so where you will get the exact idea how these REST APIs work, or how will you get the data in what format. Okay, so this is the Postman. It's an application. Okay, so this. Okay, so this way you are okay. I don't want update. So this way you will be getting the data. You just have to select what are the methods. So this is the get service, so you are going to select the get and then just paste the URL and send. So you will get the data over here in body. Okay, so this data contains the status is success and message is successfully fetched, and that's it. This is the list of the data. But okay, profile image, it doesn't have the profile image, so we'll be seeing the some other API. Okay, so uh, I am also using this dummy API.io slash account. Okay, because this is I'm inside this. So if you explore, so it will look like this. So you can go and create your account over here, because I have just created, because it has many things like you can post post, get, delete, and these APIs are being provided by them free of cost. So you can just create an account and use it. So I will get the user list, so it will have this. Okay, the same URL as we are using for dummy, so you can use this URL also, dummy example, no issue, no harm. But I want a user profile to be shown. Okay, so I will just add a new tab, and it is a get service, and when I hit enter, so okay, it prompts me an error. App ID header is missing. So what is app ID? Okay, here concepts comes to add a header to this get service. What are headers? Headers are generally you can send the authentication key or something like this in a header. So it contains the app dash ID. So this is the key, and the value. But where we are going to get the value? So you will get the value in your account. So when you click over here in your account, so uh, this ID is being generated automatically. So you need to send this ID because that's the validation point, because anyone cannot use this URL. Okay, if you are using URL means you have the account in this dummy api.io, so that's why it gives you a token. So verify that it's the authenticates user. Okay, so here I have a data. So because this data also contains the URL of the picture, because that's why we are going to show over there inside our list. Okay, so if I just copy this, and now I will go to my home page. Okay, perfectly. So before that, I need something that calls the service. So that calls the service. For that, we need things like HTTP. We need to call HTTP service from the server. So for that, just a second. Okay. So for that, we need to create a service over here. So what actually a service? So before proceeding to the service, I just want you to, okay, so let's create a function like get my list. Okay, so this is the function, and we have the URL. Okay, so let's say we have this URL is equals to, okay, so this is the URL by which we are going to get the service. And before getting the service, we need to use the methods. Okay, so for this, we will be using the HTTP client. So what is HTTP client? HTTP client is a module which helps to communicate with the server. So just write private HTTP. Okay, so then HTTP client. So this client is been automatically imported when you type over here. Okay, or you can do the other thing, just import first, then inject in this constructor. But I generally prefer this, writing directly to the constructor, but it has the advantage that it directly imports you this HTTP client. Okay, so now I will use this instance. What we have, HTTP, it automatically appends with the this, okay, dot, because it has now the methods that what we are seeing over the Postman over here. This is the get, post, put, patch, and blah blah blah, many methods are there. So the same will get over here. Okay, when I just press the dot, the same methods are prompting over here, but we are just going to use the get method. So over here I will pass the URL. Okay, so it's better to have a variable that contains the URL and you pass that variable for the you can say it looks clean. Okay, now if I just save this and call, so how it looks. Okay, okay, it is not called. So if I just sorry, if I just comment out the code, because I don't have anything over here, so I just comment out this code, and we haven't called this, so I will call this function very initially on ng on it, because whenever the page loads, so this ng on it has been called automatically, then our service will be called and our data will be rendered. Okay, so if I have saved, okay, now also it has been not called. Why? Okay, let's save. Oh my god, I haven't. Okay, so oh no, we need to call the service. Okay, the service has been not called, because if it has been called, so it will be seen over here. This uh, x HR. When you click over the XHR under network, so you will see the service call. Okay, so for this we need to return the service call, plus we need to add it such we need to make it observable. Okay, so over here we have an error, so it needs to be specified the type. So let's say it is of type any. Okay, but then again, to get the data we need to subscribe this observable. So I will make another video what these observables and promise and how to get the data with that. So just stay tuned for this now. So we need to subscribe every time when we need to get the data. So let's console log this data over here. Okay, so this is the service we have created and we have initialized or called on the page load. We have put it in ng on it. Okay, so and this is the URL and we have written the data what we are getting in service call. So let's see. Okay, so it's been called, but it has an error, that is app ID header is missing. What we actually have seen when we haven't passed this app ID over here, so we got the same type of error over here also. Okay, so we need to include this. So if I go on the console, you can see the error. Okay, so we need to pass the header. To pass the header, let's create the header. Okay, it's equals to what headers are something that used for the authentication. So header equals to new, and this is the HTTP. You can see this is the header what we need. So these are the headers. So it comes with the same package where we have the HTTP client. We will get the HTTP header. Okay, now in this header, we need to we have a few methods like get uh, key has get all, but we need to set what we need to set the header. Okay, and with that we need to set the app ID. Okay, so this is the key what we are setting. So actually you have I don't know, means you people have no idea about the map and set. What are these things in JavaScript? So we are using the same concepts of map and set. So, so these works like the same way. We are setting the key in headers. Means we are using the hash map kind of a thing over here. Okay, so the key we need to copy it from our this. Okay, I'm just using this because many people would get confused that how we have to set the headers. Okay, if you don't have the requirement of setting the header, you can skip this part. Okay, but for them who needs the header, so it is very much needed. Okay, and here are the options that get functions gives us. We have to set the headers like this. Okay, so just this headers keyword with header options. Okay, so this is the keyword. We actually need to type it like this, and the header what we have created over here with the let keyword. Okay, so let's hit it, and it again gets the error. Okay, so now what? Now still app ID is missing. Okay, but we have set the app ID over here. Okay, yeah, it's getting the error. The app ID is being not set. Okay, okay, but because we have set the app ID, but we haven't passed it to the header. Okay, so this is the property. This is the one minor thing that we have missed. And now, yeah, you can see it's called it's 200 status code 200 means it's success, and you can see uh, over here where is our header. Okay, app ID, it's been under, yeah. this response header. You can check this header over here, this app ID what we have passed. Okay, and we got this data. Okay, so now how to consume this data? So to consume this data, we actually have this, but we need to change its type. Its type is object. Okay, and just remove this and assign this over here. Okay, to get the data, because I have done data.data because it is an object, and inside that object I need this key of data and nothing else. So that's why I have used data.data, and I just uncomment this. Okay, and we have something like this. Okay, it's a list of items, and okay, I just need one object like the first name and the last name. Okay, first I will need the picture because pictures matter, I think. So over here, okay, in container we'll have this ion avatar. Okay, that will contain the item dot picture. Okay, now let's see. It has item dot picture. Yeah, we are getting the picture. Okay, and the rest of the things we need to check. So what we need to check is we need to make. So let's say email. Okay, so we will have the email over here. Normally, email colon item dot email. So the same way, if we want something like name, so you can have here name item dot fir first. This is the first name, and you can have the another key, the spacing with the last name. So this is the last name, and this will be the title. Okay, so item dot title. Let's see, it works or not. Yeah, probably it works. This is the name and the email ID. The same way you can have the list. Okay, so this way you can achieve the service call. Okay, but here let's you can say we can manage this with the service. Okay, so now each and every page doesn't have this common thing because this is the common. Okay, so let's move it to the function itself over here. Okay, and we will pass the URL over here, this URL, and we will be needing this URL over here. Okay, so when the function is been called, because this is the static things, we need it actually for the every service call. For example, if we call it on another function, uh, like if we get the call service or call get service, we can say call get service. So this is the function that we will be having, and this function is being called inside this. Okay, so for example, this API call is being on over our application over many pages, so we don't have to write this code on every page redundantly. Okay, so for this we can make a common file and inject it on every page. Okay, so for this, and one more thing that you will be needing over here. Okay, so for this we need to create one more thing other than component, other than page, other than module, that is the service. Okay, so Ionic G for generate service, or we can say the service and slash http. So this is the folder name and this will be the file name http. Okay, so it again behind the scene again uses the uh, Angular command to generate the service, and this is the folder, and this is the file name. Okay, this is used for testing purpose, and we have to write the code over here. And one more thing that you will be needing, which I have already been used, this is the HTTP client module. Okay, so this client module you need to include in your app.module. Okay, before proceeding, I just recommend this section you need to import if you are getting the error, because I forgot to tell, I have just deleted my previous code to explain you. So you need to add this HTTP client module to run your service in your app.module.ts, and when you include it, so you have to import in here. Okay, under ng module, so you just give a comma and import it. Okay, so let's go to our service file, and we will be just deleting this code and putting it in our service file. Okay, so in our service, because this service file can be used in another component or another page also, so the service we are using, just I will just cut and paste all the things what we have put it over here. Okay, this is the HTTP client and the HTTP header, plus this is the observable, so I will delete this observable and put it over here. So the same thing, this is the private HTTP what we have created the instance, so I will just paste this instance in this constructor. Ta-da, error gone, and we have one error over here. Okay, so this error is because we don't have this function, under this page. Okay, we have this function in our service file. Okay, so now we have this function in service file. So how we can get this? So we need to use this export class HTTP service, this class name, and we have to inject in our constructor the page where we want to use this function. So we'll just use private, and the short name you can use anything, but I recommend to use the HTTP. Okay, and now it gives error. The control space and hit enter, so it will automatically import this service over here. You need not to include it manually. Okay, so once this is imported, so just you have to paste the HTTP over here. Okay, because if I just show you, if I just delete this and put dot, so it will get the get my list function that we have used over here. Okay, if I make another function and use it over here, so if I just put control space, I will get that function too. Okay, so this is where you can use the common function that you are going to need it throughout the application over here. Okay, so I just control Z and I just comment out this. Okay, for the safety purpose. Now let's see our service is working or not. Okay, so we have a few error. My get is type not list. Okay, okay, yeah, perfectly, it works fine. And you're gonna see, yeah, we are getting the data, and that data is being rendered over here. Okay, now another thing is that what about the error handling? For example, if we don't pass this, if our token get expired, something, say I just inputted something, some values, and our token get expired. Okay, so for that we don't have anything to handle the error, means we should uh, place this app id is not exist over our screen. So how to get that? Okay, so to get that, we have some methods of rxjx like observable. So we have over here, that is catch. Okay, so first of all we need to use the throw method, so that will throw the error. Okay, and the other thing that I am going to use, I'm going to use the rxjs slash operators. Okay, operators, and inside that operator we have a method called catch error. Okay, so these two methods I'm going to use from the rxjx library. One is throw error and the other is catch error. So over here in our service, what I will do, I will use the pipe. Okay, so pipe is you need to Google it. What it actually, it just bind the many of the methods to a single thing. Okay, and it accepts the observable. So I will use this catch method. Okay, so whenever I get the error, so I will catch that error, and what I will do, I will throw that error. Okay, so for throwing that error I need one function. Okay, so let's call this function will be handle error, and that will take this result, or you can say the error. Okay, so error would be best. Okay, now I will create another function, or you can use it in this, because if this is the get service. Okay, so for example, you are using the post service, so you don't have to make this handle error code over here redundancy. Okay, so you can just short that that code uh, by making a function. Okay, so this error handle would accept the what result, or you can say the error. Okay, and what it will have, it will return the error. Okay, just use the throw error, and it will return the error from the error from server. Okay, what this error from server is just another variable what I am creating over here. You can use directly, because for you to understand better I am just using and this error. Okay, so first I will console dot log what this error is. Okay, so we'll need to get, so if you just go, okay, I need to change over here to make it a wrong app ID, so it will give error, and then we go. So this is the error. Okay, so this is the error, and we are going to get this, because if you just go over here service, so on a console, if I just refresh by putting the debugger, so you will get this error. So we need to show this to the user. Okay, this is the error part. You can say this has been passed by the server, or you can use the status code 403, anything. Okay, or you can show the message HTTP failure, anything, but I'm going to use this error message. So I just put over here dot error, or you can say you don't need to console now. Now this error you will pass over here, but now you have passed, but how to get that error over here? So subscribe has one more thing in its common, so that thing is called the catch. Okay, by default it catches the error. So if I just put over here, so you can see the subscribe method how it works. So it has a subscribe, or whenever that subscription fails, so it has the error. Okay, so this error would come at that time. Or you can have another method that when the subscription has been complete, so what you need to call next. Okay, so if you get the error, what you need to call next. So I don't need to call anything. What I will do, I will just over here one more function. Okay, that will error, and I will use the arrow function over here. Okay, so this arrow function, and I will just console dot log this error. Okay, but you can say, okay, I will write the whole thing error, and when you just hit that debugger, okay, I will remove this debugger. Okay, so yeah, over here, okay, this home page you will get this error once again. Okay, I just removed the whole breakpoints and put one over here, and I refresh, so it will again take me to this our homepage.ts. Okay, now we are getting the error, but how to show that error? For that we need to create one variable that will be binding error message. Okay, and it is of type string, fine, and string of empty. Okay, empty string you can say, or you just need to make it string, nothing else. Okay, now what you will do, you will be using this error. Okay, error. Okay, so this error will be over here, and now we will binding this error to that HTML over here to our div. Okay, so whenever we are getting the error, So it will be shown on our page, or you can say the alert, or you can prompt anything. Okay, so this is app id does not exist. Okay, this is the error you can handle in this way. If I just remove this double one and make it a genuine app id, so I will get the data over here. So this is all about the service call plus error handling, and how you can sync your code, or you can manage your code, or handle the error through making it a service, and you can inject it to all different pages, or only you just need to make this much code you need, because you will have a URL and the way you will be getting the data. So this is different with different pages. Okay, the common part we have separated out to the services. Okay, so this way you can use the services to many of your pages by making it a common module. Okay, so thanks for watching. Please do subscribe my channel, and all the links, for example, how we are using the structural directives plus this dummy JSON link plus the Angular HTTP. Okay, if you want to read more about the HTTP service call, so I will be providing these links below my description box. Okay, please do visit, and this code will be available to my GitHub repository. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more updates.